I take this very seriously. It is clear that this is a development that cannot continue. This must be stopped. We cannot live with the fact that we have this situation, so we throw a lot of effort into it together with our partners. You also know, just as I know, that there can be different hypotheses about why these situations occur. We have talked at length about the so-called hybrid incidents. We have talked about criminal acts that are carried out by proxies, prompted by other, perhaps foreign actors. And we also sometimes talk about actual military actions. So, there are many options and the police are keeping all options open. We are not yet in a place where we know for sure who is behind it. But there must be no doubt that everything indicates that it is a professional actor when it comes to such a systematic operation at so many locations almost simultaneously. This is what I would define as a hybrid attack with different types of drones. These are actions that could endanger our security and freedom. There is still no direct military threat to Denmark. I think it is important to emphasize this today. FE, the Danish Defense Intelligence Service, is following developments closely and continuously takes a position on whether the military threat to the kingdom is changing. It comes as no surprise, even if our colleague Mette Frederiksen in Denmark cannot yet say, logically, where the drones are coming from. The suspicion is obvious. It is part of Vladimir Putin's strategy, without us being able to say so specifically in this case. But it is part of what we experience every day. We are not at war, but we are no longer at complete peace either. We are under attack, hybrid attacks in the form of disinformation campaigns and, indeed, drone incursions. That is the reality we are facing and dealing with. These latest drone incursions highlight once again, I have the impression now that I'm saying this every day on the podium, but highlight once again the work that is currently ongoing to build such a drone wall. First announced by the EU Commission, President Ursula von der Leyen, now being implemented very carefully by Defense Commissioner Andrius Kubilius. We will indeed have an initial meeting tomorrow. I mentioned the 7 frontline member states to that list. We have added Slovakia, we have added Ukraine, that was of course fully associated giving their experience, and of course Denmark will be fully included in these discussions that we will have tomorrow, so that will also be an occasion to again stress and discuss the recent events in Denmark.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.